worthy of your love will never put you in a situation where you feel you must sacrifice your dignity, integrity, or self-worth to be with them. Source unknown. Oftentimes, though, people allow themselves to be in relationships where, let's be honest, they aren't treated so great. They're abused or put down emotionally, physically, financially, or in all other aspects of their life. DomesticViolence.org says that 1 in 4 women will experience domestic violence in their lifetime. That means that out of all of us, at least how many have been in some kind of abusive relationship? It could be me, it could be one of you, but statistics say that at least one of us, if not 2 or 3, have been, or could be. The National Coalition Against Domestic Violence and the National Network to End Domestic Violence give many helpful tips to avoid and end violent relationships. My goal today is to get the word out, to get everyone to stand up against domestic violence and to report it. Let's stop it before it ends. We'll start with my story. In 2011, I met this guy. We'll just call him John. That way we won't be this guy, that guy. He seemed real nice. I met him through a mutual friend, and he did all the things that I thought somebody that was perfect would do. He bought me flowers. He wanted to spend all this time together. You know, he said nice things. He called me all the time, and I thought things were good. A couple months down the road, he wanted to move in together. Me thinking, well, he's too good to be true. If I let him go, then, that'll just be the end of it. I decided, well, we can move in together. So, a couple months after we moved in together, his behavior started getting worse. He started getting hateful. He didn't want me to talk to my friends, my family. He decided that he was just going to be jealous. He was going to go through my cell phone. I couldn't keep a lock on it. He wanted to control money, even though at the time he couldn't keep a job. It kept getting worse. He would call me all the time if I was gone. He would just say hateful things, and he would blame everybody else for what he did. He would say that it was his ex-girlfriend's fault, that they made him jealous, that they cheated on him, or that they hit him before, what have you. So, as soon as I had finally gotten tired of putting up with him, I found out I was pregnant. And that's when I kind of hit a hard spot. I didn't know whether to stay or go. So I decided to stick it out. I decided that I would try. Regardless of what he had done before, he said things would change. So I said, okay, that's fine. Things can change. Well, a couple weeks later, after all the pregnancy news had calmed down, he decided that he was going to go back to his old self. And for the first time, he hit me. I don't even know what it was over now, probably money or something stupid. But at that time, I thought, man, he won't do it again. He really won't. So I let it go. I didn't tell anybody, I just hid it. I put makeup over it, didn't think about it. A couple weeks later, he does it again. And that's when I knew that I had to go, that I just couldn't do it anymore. I didn't tell my family and friends why I left. I didn't tell them that I, had been in that kind of relationship. I just left. And a little bit down the road, I eventually told my parents, and they wanted me to get a restraining order, but since I had no proof, it was too late. And that's what I want to prevent today. I want to prevent these people going, without having to take their actions, without having to have consequences. I want everyone to know that you have to report those kind of things. You can't just put up with it, and even if you're not the victim, even if you know that someone else is the victim, you have to report it. You can't just let it go. My story didn't really end too badly, but for others, sometimes it does. It can end in serious injury or death even. The NCADV says that 1 in 2 deaths in women is actually caused by some kind of domestic violence. Now, that's more than any heart disease, cancers, anything, which is, in my opinion, really sad. In order to recognize an abuser, the National Network to End Domestic Violence and the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence have given some signs of a potential abuser. These may include jealousy, moving too quickly, being controlling, pushing away your loved ones, wanting to control money, things like that. As a victim, these signs aren't always easy to spot. They're just not. Sometimes you're in your own world and you don't think that they're that big of a deal. That's why it's important to pay attention and to protect your loved ones. If someone shows these signs, point it out. Don't let it go unspoken. If you know someone's being abused, say something. Hope House and New House are both shelters in the Kansas City area that offer legal counsel, counseling, and shelter for victims of domestic violence. If someone you know doesn't want to go to a shelter or get help, contact the police. Call an abuse hotline. Don't let your loved ones or yourself be victims. Don't be afraid to get involved. Domestic violence is everyone's problem, and it's not a private matter.